The boy had just woken up when he was shocked to discover that he had turned into a girl. At first, he thought it was just a dream, but when he looked in the mirror, he was stunned to realize this wasn't a dream at all. Meanwhile, a girl somewhere else was going through the exact same thing. The story takes place in a remote town called Itomori. Mitsuha's mother passed away from illness when she was young. Her father, a local politician, was always busy with work and rarely came home. She and her younger sister Yatsuha were raised by their grandmother. During dinner, the TV news reported that a comet appearing once every 1,200 years would pass by Earth in a month, but no one really paid attention to it. On the way to school, Sayaka and Katsuhiko mentioned that Mitsuha had been acting like she was possessed yesterday, but Mitsuha had no idea what they were talking about. In class, she was startled to see the words "Who are you?" written in her textbook. As she sat there confused, the teacher called on her to answer a question. When she couldn't respond, the teacher joked, "Well, at least Mitsuha remembers her own name today." The comment only made her more unsettled. Why did everyone think there was something wrong with her yesterday? She couldn't remember a thing. All she knew was that yesterday felt like a blurry dream. Mitsuha was fed up with everything about this town. The trains only ran once every 2 hours. There was no bookstore, no cafe. Her biggest dream was to graduate as soon as possible and move to Tokyo. If she had the choice, she wouldn't even want to be a girl anymore. She wished she could be a handsome boy in Tokyo instead. As night fell, the lights in Mitsuha's house were still on. Her grandmother taught her how to braid cords. Every twist of the thread carried 1,000 years of the town's history. As the shrine's caretaker, her grandmother often complained that Mitsuha's father Tashiki had abandoned their family's sacred duty to pursue a career in politics. Meanwhile, Tashiki was busy attending gatherings for the upcoming mayoral election. Watching from the side, Katsuhiko felt that the adults' socializing reeked of hypocrisy. Katsuhiko's family owned the largest construction company in town, but he had no intention of following the path his father laid out for him. At the same time, Mitsuha and her sister dressed as shrine maidens for a ritual. The most important part was making kuchikamizaki, rice wine brewed by chewing the rice. Legend said the wine carried half of a person's soul. Mitsuha placed the sticky rice into her mouth, then spat it into a container. Her classmates mocked it, saying the wine was disgusting. Mitsuha had long since grown tired of all of it. She shouted toward the mountains, "Please let me be a handsome boy in Tokyo in my next life." Perhaps even the gods found her wish amusing. Her soul was actually reincarnated as a handsome boy in Tokyo. A text message arrived, urging her to hurry to school. The moment Mitsuha pushed open the door, the Tokyo she had always dreamed of appeared right before her eyes. She gasped. This dream felt unbelievably real. Running late, Mitsuha stood awkwardly at the classroom door, completely at a loss. Suddenly, a boy placed a hand on her shoulder from behind. His name was Tsukasa, a close friend of the boy she had possessed Taki. But today, whether it was the way she sat or the way she spoke, everything about her seemed strange to everyone else. When Mitsuha heard they were going to a cafe later, she was so excited that she almost cried, but the expensive menu left her stunned. One pancake cost as much as her entire monthly allowance. She couldn't help but sigh, thinking, what an amazing dream. Then her phone reminded her that she had to go to work, so she hurried to the restaurant where Taki worked part-time. But Mitsuha had no experience with part-time jobs. She kept making mistakes. 2 customers called her over. They had deliberately placed a toothpick into the pizza to make things difficult for her. Just then, Mickey stepped in to help her out. One of the men stared at the beautiful Mickey and quietly pulled out a box cutter. After closing time, Mitsuha repeatedly thanked Mickey. Then a coworker suddenly noticed that Mickey's skirt had been slashed open in a very sensitive spot. Mickey's face flushed red with anger and embarrassment. Mitsuha gathered her courage, took Mickey's hand, and led her into the break room. She carefully stitched the tear in the skirt. Her delicate handiwork earned Mickey's admiration and praise. What Mitsuha didn't know was that Taki had always liked Mickey. Looking through Taki's phone, she saw diary entries and photos of Mickey. She found this boy cute and interesting. Suddenly, she remembered the words written in her textbook. "Who are you?" So she decided to write her own name on Taki's palm. The next day, Taki's soul returned to his own body. When he saw the name written on his hand, he panicked. His phone diary had been updated by someone else. On the other side, when Mitsuha woke up, she found her arms covered in writing. As she walked into the classroom, her classmates gasped, saying Mitsuha was finally acting normal again today. Because yesterday, she had been under Taki's control. Mitsuha stood there completely stunned. Her textbooks were filled with Taki's handwriting and doodles. At the same time, both of them realized this wasn't a dream. Based on their experiences so far, their souls were swapping 2 to 3 times a week, and there was no warning at all. It usually happened after they fell asleep. Just like that, Taki, living in Tokyo, and Mitsuha, the girl from the countryside, began experiencing each other's lives. In order not to ruin the other's daily routine, they set some rules. Everything they did while in the other's body had to be recorded, but Taki had no understanding of a girl's modesty. He even played basketball without wearing a bra. Meanwhile, Mitsuha kept improving Taki's relationship with Miki. They left each other messages in every way possible. Gradually, Taki began to enjoy life in the countryside, and Mitsuha learned how to handle life in Tokyo with confidence. One day, the soul swap happened again. This time, Taki remembered to wear a bra, even though Mitsuha strictly forbade him from touching her chest. Every time they switched back, Taki would instinctively grab his own chest out of habit. October 14th, the comet was approaching perihelion, and today was the day to visit the shrine. Taki carried their elderly grandmother on his back. Soon, they crossed over rocky hills. Before them lay an open clearing, the shrine. The massive crater formed by a meteor 1,000 years ago left Taki in awe. The purpose of their visit was to offer Mitsuha and Yatsuha's Kuchikamizaki to the shrine. Time passed quickly. By the time they headed back, the sun was already setting. Gazing at the breathtaking scenery, Taki absent-mindedly started talking about the comet. Grandmother, as if she had seen through everything, asked him gently whether he was dreaming. Suddenly, the soul swap stopped. Taki jolted awake in his bed. Just then, his phone rang, pulling him back to reality. It turned out Mitsuha had set up a date between Taki and Miki. On the other side, Mitsuha felt an unexplainable sense of loss. Taki met up with the beautiful Miki. Meanwhile, Mitsuha tied her hair back and found herself quietly crying. It felt as if something was missing from her heart. Taki, with zero dating experience, turned the date into an awkward ordeal. At the art museum, a painting of Lake Itomori made him stop for a long time. Miki faintly sensed that Taki today felt like a different person. She spoke her intuition plainly. Before, Taki definitely liked her, but now, he probably liked someone else. Miki walked away into the glow of the sunset. At that moment, Mitsuha's braided cord was already tied around Taki's wrist. Night slowly fell. In one of Mitsuha's messages, she had written that by the end of the date, the comet should be visible. Taki's emotions grew more intense. His mind was filled with Mitsuha. He tried calling her, but no one answered on the other end, and the comet never appeared in the sky. When Mitsuha woke from her dream, it was already dusk. Katsuhiko informed her about the autumn festival.